Okay, here I am in the basement talking, and this video is called the 2.5 most important things you need to know if you want to read tarot cards for yourself or for other people. And this came about because somebody asked for my opinion on whether it's a good idea to read for yourself. I happen to think it is, and this is what I'm going to explain and describe and kind of justify. But most people are probably going to tell you it's a bad idea. And this is because you, the reader, are too close to the question because it's about you. Or it's going to be hard to separate what will happen from what you want to happen, or separate what will happen from what you're secretly afraid is going to happen. So, at the same time, though, I don't really see that much difference between reading for somebody else and reading for you. And this is because we still have cards that have to be interpreted. And it's easy to turn over a card and have absolutely no idea what that particular card means or what to make of it. Or you pick a card and it seems to be answering another question that hasn't been asked, right? So you're stuck and you have to start talking about something that has been asked about. So there can be a lot of reasons why you don't know what to do with a card or a series of cards in a spread. So I'm going to tell you the 2.5 most important things you need to know if you're going to read for yourself or if you're going to answer questions for somebody else. And let me start with a half point. And it's important, but it applies in more than one area. And it relates to more than just tarot reading. So the point is, part of each of us knows what we should do or what we could do or what is a good idea to do to take us in a decent or purposeful direction. And we've all had moments when we just knew what to do, let's say, or we felt as if we were in harmony with our inner self or in sync with the cosmos, whatever it happens to be, something along those lines. But the important point is that we've had the experience, right? And I think we can connect with that level of understanding or that level of certainty through the tarot. So with the tarot, even if you consult another reader, with the cards, that, no matter what the cards are that come up, it's still you talking to you, right? It's not something out there that is going to give you the answer, because it's a bit like the knowledgeable part of you, or the part of you that really knows everything, okay? It's talking to you, to the you that lives in the world and has ups and downs and sometimes awake, sometimes asleep. So it's a bit like the real you, or the knowledgeable you, is talking to the other you. So let's take this as our starting point. The part of you knows the answer, and it can show you what that answer is through the cards and the pictures that come up in a reading. It can get its message to you in other ways too, but at the moment we're looking at tarot cards. So that was half a point, and now a full point on how to read cards for yourself. And the point is, remember the question. It's a good idea to write it down because you can forget it, or you may forget the exact wording, and the exact wording can be important. But the point is about remembering the question. Let's say you ask, how should I handle my driving test? Right? And you pick a card, you get an answer to that particular question. So let's say you pick the Knight of Swords, right? But it's reversed. Okay? So the fact that the card is upside down, it doesn't mean that you're going to fail the test, because you asked, how do I handle the test? Not, will I pass the driving test? And that's important sort of about remembering the question, because if you want to know, will you pass, then that's yes, this is no. So but you didn't ask that question, you wanted to know how to handle the question. And this is what I mean about remembering the question. So if the question is how should I handle the driving test, and the answer is the Knight of Swords reversed, because it's reversed, it means don't be like the Knight of Swords. Because you look at him, he's charging ahead. He can be dangerous if his sword is not controlled. So how do you handle the driving test? Don't act like the Knight of Swords, right? What do? Relax. Don't rush. Don't charge ahead or drive too fast or chop and change your mind. Think your way through the road conditions, and when you recognise an obstacle or a problem and you know what to do, follow through. Don't do what you know you have to do, and don't change your mind halfway through. This is how you should handle the test. Or you might get the Two of Cups, right? Two of Cups. So what do? Be kind and considerate of other drivers. So if another car, let's say you're driving along, another car wants to cut in front of you, give them room, let them move in, hold back so there's space for the car to pull into, instead of closing up to the car ahead of you and making that driver go behind you. There may be only one incident like that during the test, but it's going to please the examiner. So look at the card and interpret the card to relate to the question. Because it's you talking to you, and the tarot is going to answer your question. So remember what the question was. Or you might ask about work and get the Six of Cups, right? And you might think the card is answering a question about your relationship or your marriage because of the nature of the Six of Cups. And readers do this, I think, way too often. Okay, so somebody asks a question and the cards that come up weren't what the reader expected, or the reader doesn't know what to do with them, right? So they say, this spread seems to be answering a different question that you didn't ask, so is there something else on your mind? Or they might say, this card looks like a romance, so is there something going on with the romantic relationship? Because it looks to me like the spread seems to be about love and emotional situations. And the thing with that is, the problem is we can always think of something we can improve in a relationship. So I happen to love my children, but there are one or two habits that I could find annoying, right? Even though I'm generally not annoyed with them. So I can give you an answer about a bad part of the relationship, but I don't really mean it. So we can pick a card. You say, is there a personal relationship that you're not happy with? I can come up with an answer, but it's not something that is of concern to me. So I'm saying, remember the question. If you ask about work and the cards that come up are about relationships, then think about how you can improve your relationships with the people you work with. Those who are above you, bosses, superiors, people you work with, and the people below you as well, right? So let's say we get this card. It's about relationships and about improving your dealings with other people. There's no need to change the question because the reader doesn't know how to interpret the answer. And if you're reading for yourself, remember the question and trust yourself in the tarot. And I'm saying trust yourself because remember the half point at the beginning. And trust yourself instead of thinking that you're no good or that other people know what's best for you. A tarot reading is the wise part of you talking to you. If you've been supposed, in that previous example, if you've been supposed to ask about your marriage, right, then you would have asked that question. What's going to happen in my marriage, or what do I need to know? But you didn't. You asked about work, and that's the question the cards will answer. Although you may sometimes have to work a bit to get the answer. But that's it, working at interpreting cards, and that's a good point. So, the second main point is you need to know, instead of trying to figure out what a card means, right, ask yourself, what sense does it make as an answer to the question that you asked? So somebody told me that they were shuffling before asking what today's lesson was going to be. Like that was a daily thing they do, shuffle. What's today's lesson about? And the page of coins fell out. Here's the page of coins, right? So she looked at it and tried to figure out a meaning. And to that end, she read some meanings in a book, typical meanings, and one that she read was being immature, in quotes. This person will rarely do anything for free, not if they can get someone else to pay for it, to pay them to do it. So this may or may not be true, right? That the Page of Pentacles is like that. But it was hard for the person to fit that meaning with what was her lesson for the day. So was she supposed to grow up, because she's immature? Was she supposed to grow up and not be immature, whatever that might mean? Or was she not supposed to volunteer her time and energy to others, but to try and get paid for it, or what was going on? So this is the kind of bind that you can get into if you read somebody else's meaning of a card and then try to fit it with the question. You can get confused or think there's something wrong with you because of the card. On the other hand, if you ask yourself, what sense does the card make? And remember the question, then the sense can be, she's meant to be a page. So be young and youthful in her outlook during the day. That's her lesson for the day. Be young and youthful. Forget about being old and set in your ways and trying to be in control of people and things, the kind of thing that you might have got from sorry, I forgot to unplug the phone. Okay, so a queen might behave in an old, mature way, but she's a page, so it's the contrast between the older queen and the younger page. Pages are young, so your lesson for today, live fully and experience what comes along. And the way young people are, you think you're invincible. So you might need to look before you leap just to be on the safe side. So if you look at a card that comes up with the intention of understanding or uncovering the sense it makes, you'll become a better reader. And you'll get beyond the beginner stage that most people get stuck at. Because they're looking for a magical book that contains every answer to every question. The thing is, the book already exists and it's called the Tarot. And that, in combination with the wise part of you, will be able to answer any question. So try reading for yourself. Think of a question, write it down and pick a card. Then see what sense the card makes for that question. If you get stuck, email me, bllntr@yahoo.com, and I may be able to help. I mean, I'll try to help, but I'm expecting that I would be able to give you some kind of assistance. The other thing is take a look at what's already at www.thetarot.ca. So this video has been called the 2.5 most important things you need to know. And the next one is going to be called the other 2 things you need to know if you're going to do a reading for yourself. Because there are 4. I didn't want to put them all in the same video because it could be too long. But look for some. Today's the 30th, I think, of May 2011. Look for something next week. So by the 7th of June, there'll be something on YouTube and at the website that will tell you the other 2 points that you need to know if you're going to do a reading for yourself. So I hope you found this useful. If you have comments or questions, send me an email, give me a call, and I'll see you next time. Thank you very much.